Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Lisandro MARTINEZ has signed for Manchester United. It's official. Manchester United have put it out at 3 p.m. again. It's a £55 million deal all in. That includes the add-ons, so €55 million plus another 10 in euros takes it up to £55 million. So £55 million. 5-year deal, as we know. It is a little bit weird. I'll go through that in a minute, but it is a bit of a weird one because I'm getting a little bit confused about what's going on with Lisandro MARTINEZ. James Ducker says Man United have reached an agreement with Ajax over Lisandro MARTINEZ. Initial fee €55 million, which is £46.8 million, plus €10 million, which is $8.5 million in add-ons to £55.3 million. Solidarity payments on top of that. Second most expensive defender in United's history. 5-year contract plus the option of another year. But where I get confused is, and I want to talk about this signing in a more global sense, in the sense of what actually happens with Lisandro MARTINEZ at Manchester United. Manchester United have put an article out, and it's very brief. Transfer news: agreements reached with Martinez. Manchester United is delighted to announce the club has reached an agreement with Ajax for the transfer of Argentine defender Lisandro Martinez, subject to medical, to players' terms being finalised, and to UK visa requirements. So it's not actually, in the traditional sense, what we've been building up for. I mean, we did this on Friday, so I'm a little bit confused. Fabrizio said done deal so many more times than I've ever heard him, and I don't. This is not. He's not done his medical. He's not done his medical, so he's not got his visa. So we've not got any quotes. We've not got him holding up a shirt. So what are United doing putting this out there? We already knew the deal was done. We knew the fee was agreed. I'm a little bit confused. There are no quotes, Gak. No, this is Manchester United now announcing deal done themselves. I don't know whether it's a new media strategy, but this is basically what we did on Friday. The agreement between Ajax and Manchester United and Lisandro MARTINEZ. He's not done his medical. He did his medical yesterday, but it's not been announced officially. We've got no quotes. So does that then mean that they're going to announce tomorrow that the deal is official with the medical? I suppose it's the evolution of the world of football, isn't it? We used to have done deal and then official. We're now getting done deal, official done deal, and then official when the medical's done. Stop overthinking it, says Vera. Well, the reason I'm overthinking it is that because there will be another announcement from Manchester United when they have his interview, I suppose. But look, the positive thing is Manchester United have announced done deal. So that is effectively an official announcement that he has signed for Manchester United. I'm not massively concerned about the fee. I don't know why people are bantering Arsenal for getting Man City's B team when we know Man City's B team easily get top four anyway, says Nathan. Don't know what you're talking about. We're talking about a new signing, Nathan. So yeah, I'm very excited about Lisandro MARTINEZ. I think it's a positive signing. The fee is too high, but what you're going to do? I mean, in a broad stroke summary, we're paying too much for Lisandro MARTINEZ, but we've got bigger fish to fry. We still haven't got the right winger. We haven't got De Jong. We've got no midfield. We needed a centre-back. It was meant to be Timber. It's now going to be Lisandro MARTINEZ. United have been absolutely robbed, says Darren. Fair play to Ajax. But we desperately needed a defender, and desperate is the word. When you spend all of May and all of June saying you're not going to do any other business, you're just going to focus on Frenkie de Jong, and then you're spending most of July still focusing on Frenkie. I mean, United, in their transfer policy, have absolutely mugged themselves off. Because effectively, all through June, they were saying, we're relaxed. We're confident about getting everything. You know, once we get De Jong, everything else will follow. They didn't get De Jong, and then they've had to go and do deals. And clubs like Ajax have said, hold on a minute. You've been messing around with De Jong for the last 2 months. You could have been doing this deal with us a month ago, and we probably would have sold him a bit cheaper. We've sold half our team now. We don't want to sell Lisandro MARTINEZ. So you can pay us €65 million, which is what we've done. And it's probably cost us another €20 million doing it a month late. So I don't blame Ajax for it. It's got nothing to do with Lisandro MARTINEZ. And ultimately, as fans, we have to critique the player. And when you critique the player, he was Player of the Year in the Eredivisie. He was Ajax's Player of the Year. He's a fantastic player. He ticks a lot of boxes for what we need. We need a left-footed centre-back who can play out from the back, who's intelligent, who's a leader. So it's tick, 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 tick. And in normal circumstances, you would never care about how much we've paid. Apart from the fact we do care how much we've paid because our board has been crap at this sort of thing for 9 years and they have overpaid. and they've probably used a big proportion of the budget that if we'd saved 20 million could have gone on somebody else. So we'll find out about that in the future, but I feel it's unfair to sort of get into that when we're talking about a player signing for Manchester United, which is officially been announced 8 minutes ago by Manchester United. They're like a 3 p.m. kickoff. So Gene says it's an amazing signing. We have overpaid. Let's move on from that. We have overpaid. We know that, but that's not his fault. Ajax, well done. United, another embarrassing negotiation, because there's no way you should be playing 65 million euros for an Eredivisie player, let alone a centre-back. But whatever he's worth, everybody I've spoken to, the little bits I've watched of him, he's a really exciting player. And the big positive with that is, and nobody's really mentioning this, the big positive with that is, we've seen for the last 3 years, if you spend £80 million on a centre-back and £50 million on a right-back, they get picked. So if you spend £50 million on another centre-back, he ain't going to sit on the bench, is he? You can guarantee Lisandro Martinez is going straight into that United side. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think that was the case. I mean, I didn't. There's even a clip of me saying it. I thought he would sit on the bench. I thought he would go with Maguire and Varane because Maguire's £80 million and Varane's one of the best centre-backs in the world. And I genuinely thought we would get Lisandro Martinez for about £35 million. And therefore, I thought, well, look, Donny cost us £35 million. He sat on the bench. But I think the positive of spending this much money, and to be fair, Ten Hag was always going to pick Lisandro Martinez from the start. You know, I accept that now, in hindsight. But when you spend 65 million euros, sorry, on a player, 55 million pounds when you've paid the add-ons, you're not sitting him on the bench. He's going to go in the team. And you know, some people are going to say he's going to go in at centre-back, he's going to go left-back, he's going to go CDM. We're buying him as a centre-back. And actually, he's more suitable as a centre-back than Timber. We wanted Timber, we didn't get him, so we went for Lisandro Martinez. Pau Torres was mentioned, as we know, but Erik Ten Hag didn't want Pau Torres, he preferred Lisandro Martinez. And he will go straight into the team as a left-sided centre-back. Whether he evolves into something else or whether that works out, we'll have to wait and see. But that is the plan. And actually, he suits the team more than Timber because he is left-footed and Timber's not. Hi, Mark. I thought United increased their offer up front for De Jong so they could pay his wages. Why are we still waiting? Says it's. Well, we're talking about Lisandro at the moment, but I will come back to that in a minute. Mark, we still need at least 7 more signings, my opinion, says Jeffrey Jeff. Mark, we started working on the centre-back early in the window with Timber till Van Gaal screwed it up, says Hamada. Cameron says, I just hope that positivity from the fans on the signing of Martinez pushes the owners to go out and get De Jong done and back the manager with players he wants, says Cameron. Probably won't happen, but here's to hoping. I'm hoping for that too. Cameron, welcome to the Members Club as well, thank you. Do you think he's being signed to play alongside Maguire? Sorry if he's captain, he won't bench him, although he definitely should, says Aram. Our best, look, breaking news, clip it up and do what you like. Our best centre-back pairing in that club now is Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. Rafael Varane is one of the best centre-backs in the world. I don't care what anybody says. It's injury that undermined his season last year. He is still one of the best centre-backs in the world. And Lisandro Martinez is better than any other centre-back we've got left-sided because he's left-footed and he knows how to play in the Ten Hag system. Our best centre-back pairing is Varane and Martinez. But I, like many people, don't think we'll see it because he may drop Varane for Maguire, which sounds amazing. But more importantly, I don't think Varane's going to be fit much. So I think Maguire and Lisandro Martinez will probably play more games simply because, and I've said this consistently, I think Varane's carrying an issue. Hi Mark, I think even though Martinez will be initially expensive, I think his ceiling and the way he will benefit us will make his worth the fee, says Gus. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, let's just talk about him for a minute. Charles says, at this point, on principle, I want to pull out of the De Jong deal. Thank you very much, Charles, for that. I think that, just to talk about Lisandro Martinez for a minute, we look at that team last season, and it was so bad defensively. I know the midfield was to blame, but the defence was terrible. Some of the goals we were conceding. I mean, that goal we conceded at Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. I mean, Harry Maguire's good in the air, and he completely loses João Felix and gives him a free header. And I know that's on Maguire, but Lindelof made loads of mistakes. The whole back four was really bad last year. We've now got a goalkeeper that's going to be coached properly. Like, De Gea wasn't told to sweep or anything like that under Ollie. He just wasn't. That just wasn't part of the plan. So many United players are coming out and talking about the coaching, not just the fitness. So we're going to see a goalkeeping experiment with De Gea that is going to be completely different to the last 3 years. And the defensive line is going to be really different as well. And you know what? I don't want to say this, but in an ideal world, I do want to say it. In an ideal world, Martinez and Varane become Ramos and Varane in an ideal world. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you've got Ramos, who's ridiculously aggressive and competitive, and then you've got Varane, who is an all-round centre-back who complements that. So and it's two big ifs. If Martinez adapts to the Premier League like he did to the Eredivisie, and Varane can stay fit, we've got a really good centre-back pairing there that won't concede many goals. We've also got a goalkeeper that's a great shot stopper and is going to be getting better, hopefully, in this new system. So suddenly your spine looks fantastic because you've got De Gea, rejuvenated and coached. You've got Martinez, who knows how to play this. You've got Varane, who's a world-class centre-back. You solve your midfield and suddenly you're building a spine. Obviously, the fullbacks have got to be part of that. I'm really excited to see how this builds out because, as somebody just said there, the signing of Malacia is for the future. Eriksen, we don't know how he's going to be used yet. That is exciting. But Lisandro Martinez is into a position where we know we're ridiculously weak. The left-sided centre-back, whether it's Lindelof, Maguire, Bailly, whoever, is weak. And if Lisandro Martinez works, then we are suddenly strong in that position. So I'm very excited to see how it's going to work. Smash a like on the video for Lisandro Martinez. Hey Pablo, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Hi Mark, sorry I say Martinez and Bailly, although it won't happen, says Mikael Roach. Well, I do struggle with why people don't rate Varane. I don't care whether Varane's wearing a Manchester United shirt or not. If I'm having a conversation about the top 5 centre-backs in the world, he's comfortably in it. And has been for me for the last 5-6 years. Just because he's come to Manchester United and a few injury problems doesn't make him not a world-class player. He's 29. He's not 39. I don't get it. I notice it in the media. I notice it in the fan base. I think he's massively underrated. Rafael Varane is one of the best centre-backs in the world. Even, forget he's a United player. Just, I would say it when he was at Real Madrid. One of the best centre-backs in the world. He's not lost that ability because he's been injured a lot last year. The injury is the problem. The injury issues are the problem with Varane. He's still our best centre-back. How long before Martinez falls because he's trying to do 2 jobs at once, covering for Maguire, says Nick P. I know you think De Jong will be the next signing, but seeing as that's 3 or 4 weeks away, do you really think we won't sign anyone for weeks? It's worrying, says Aram. And Ozzy says, in my opinion, Erik ten Hag is too much of an arse. He will constantly drop Maguire, Varane and Lisandro for me, says Ozzy. Well, at the end of the day, and that, I'm using a cliche there, but Lisandro Martinez, the big discussion and the big excitement is if you spend £55 million on a centre-back, you're going to pick that centre-back. I mean, Man United have spent a lot of money on centre-backs over the years. If you think about it, Maguire was 3 years ago, £80 million. Lisandro Martinez today, £55 million. So that's £135 million. Varane was about 40 and we got him cheap. So, you're getting up. You stick Lindelof into that. That's 200 million quid we've spent on centre-backs in the last few years. So, and I seem to think there might be somebody else. There probably isn't. So we spent a lot of money on centre-backs and we still don't have an established centre-back pairing. This is what we need to have now. I disagree with you when you say that in some ways Lisandro is better than Timber. As you earlier said, Timber was what we needed, says Six Stream. I wanted Timber. I'm not going to move away from that. I think that Timber's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world. He's a lot younger than Lisandro. I think he's 20. But, Lisandro Martinez is better in the air than Timber, even though he's an inch smaller. They're both small centre-backs. So Lisandro Martinez is good in the air, despite his height. He's also more of a leader than Timber, and he's got a left foot. So that's what I'm talking about. He's probably more suitable to what we need. But I'm not going to lie, I wanted Timber, and that's what Ten Hag wanted. But what I'm saying is, it's quite a rare situation where you don't get the player you want and your second choice could actually work out being better and more suitable to the issues that we have. In my opinion, Erik ten Hag is too much of... Have done that one, haven't we, from Aussie? Thank you very much. Andrew's been a member for 40 months. He says, great signing. Other than this epic De Jong saga, do you think we are done with signings, says Andrew? Well, that's going to be the interesting thing now, isn't it? How long do we wait on De Jong, and are we going to do any other business? And I don't think it's going to take long to figure that out. Journalists are out there on tour. These questions are being asked. All you've got to do is speak to someone at United and say, is that your business over? And you'll know from the answer. Because if the answer is, the market's still got time to run, but we're happy with the signings we've done, you think, yeah, that's it, it's over. if they get a brief that we're actively looking at other players, then it's not over. Happy for Martinez, but is anyone thinking it's a bit expensive? Says SK. Look, I think that's the headline from this, and I think we just need to be very careful about it, because it's not the player's fault. It was never Harry Maguire's fault that we spent 80 million on him, or Wan-Bissaka that we spent 50. That's just, we spent too much on those players. We have spent too much on Lisandro Martinez. There's no escaping that. But that shouldn't be the story of the day, should not be how much we've spent. We have caused this as a football club because we spent all of the summer obsessed with De Jong and didn't do other business. I know for a fact that Ajax would have sold us Lisandro Martinez in June for a lot less than what they're selling us in July, because that's when they wanted to do deals. We're paying more because we're desperate. But that doesn't mean Lisandro Martinez will be a bad signing. Look, we've spent £50 million on Wan-Bissaka. He's probably going to leave. It's probably going to be classed as a very expensive flop. Lisandro Martinez, we may spend a little bit too much, more money on him, but he might be a complete and utter success where we go, look, we did pay 55 million for him. It was a little bit too much, but to be fair, he's lived up to it. And that's the mindset to have, I think. You're not a flop on day one because you spend too much. Erik Ten Hag is not afraid to call out players for not performing, even in training. I don't think Maguire can hide under this manager like he has in the past, says Jared. I don't know. I pass no comment on that. As I say, for me, Martinez goes straight into the team and Varane's our best centre-back. That's the centre-back pairing. But I'm not going to say that's going to happen. I've seen this too many times at this club where you see a signing come in and you go, right, that's going to happen, and then it doesn't. There are politics in that dressing room. There are popularities. There is divisions. There is power that's not football power within that football club. So I wouldn't rule anything out. I think certain players do get favoured, and this is why you had people leaking about that last January. Varane still played a considerable amount as this season, even with injuries, and was mediocre, but because his name isn't Maguire, no one cares. No, Rash, I know you like to have your favourites. The cold, harsh facts are that Varane, up until probably March, every time he played, we didn't get stuffed. Every time we got stuffed, Varane didn't play. Liverpool, City, Leicester, Watford, Varane didn't play in those games. So don't ever compare Maguire and Lindelof to Varane, because it's a disgrace. Like Varane's probably won more trophies than everybody else in that team combined. Seriously, he probably has. I mean, this myth that Varane's not a good centre-back just makes me laugh. I know the board sucks, but I trust Ten. He's massively underrated by the media, and he's massively underrated by certain sections of our fan base. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world. But he's tarnished by injury and what happened last season. But when you break it down, he didn't play in many of the games where we got annihilated. I know the board sucks, but I trust Ten Hag to choose incoming and outgoings, and people forget his contract took a while because he wanted to have the upper hand in decisions, says Hamada. Mark, I don't think many people realise this, but you're guaranteed to start games if you're captain. Erik Ten Hag is ruthless and Maguire is out of his depth, says King Eric. You're not guaranteed to start games if you're captain, says King Eric. No, you're right. There's plenty of examples of that. Do you think Erik Ten Hag could play a back five? No, Adam, I don't. It could happen, but I don't think it would happen. One, because I've never seen Ten Hag play with a back five. I might be wrong on that, but most of the time he doesn't. And two, to play a back five, you've got to sacrifice one of your attackers, which doesn't fit in again with what Ten Hag wants to do. And also, if you're playing a back five, how do you play a high line? You can do it, but I don't think back five suits the way he wants to play. Pep doesn't play a back five, does he? It just doesn't. As I say, Ten Hag's got a very distinctive style of play, but he's more Liverpool, he's more Man City than he is Conte or Tuchel. So I don't think he'll play a back five. I think Maguire and Lisandro will play a lot together because of Varane's injuries. To be fair to United, the De Jong deal is fee already agreed. The problem is De Jong. Exactly, Nathan. And I think Erik Ten Hag is thinking ahead here. I won't be surprised if we go for Timber next year to partner him with Martinez, says Stendo. Well, United have got real big history of doing that sort of thing. When we miss out on a player that we want, we'll go back the next summer. Bruno in the summer, got him in January. Sancho in the summer, went and got him the next summer. So, yeah, we may well go for Timber. I mean, it'd be very interesting to play with a centre-back pairing that is both under 5'11", but it could still be the case. Let me just read you. In fact, let me just show you a United statement in relation to this. It might go on the screen. Hopefully it will. Yeah, it will. Man United is delighted to announce the club has reached agreement with Ajax for the transfer of Argentinian international defender Lisandro Martinez, subject to medical, to player terms being finalised and to UK visa requirements. So it is a little bit odd. United don't normally do this. done deal pending medical. I mean, I remember them doing it with Lindelof, but it is it's up to United what they do, don't they? But I suspect that we'll still get another official announcement when he's actually done his medical and got his visa, where he's holding up the shirt. Obviously, United have got a long week anyway, because Martinez and Eriksen are not going to fly out. If you think Varane is bad, says Nathan, then you should probably stop watching football. He has 3 Champions Leagues in a row, and he was part of that. You know how hard it is. He's a fantastic player. I think now the board will concentrate on outgoings more when incomings, whilst De Jong is on tour, seeing as we've only sold Pereira, says Mason. Mark, he's underrated because he plays for United. You get idiots like Merson calling Varane out. It's the same with all our players, even Ronaldo, says Aram. I've seen people, I'm not going to name names, I've seen people sort of saying that Varane's as bad as Maguire. I mean, just, it is rather funny. Happy with the Martinez signing, says Ashish. Next signing, we should be a proper defensive midfielder, and then top 4 will be 100% guaranteed. Nothing is 100% guaranteed. We thought that a year ago, mate. We cannot sit here and just pretend that that it's absolutely guaranteed, because it's not. But I agree with you. Let's get De Jong. Let's try and get something else done as well. And effectively, we may well put ourselves in a position where we can really challenge. Because I was saying this morning that I don't really think that at the moment we are in a position to really clarify what's going to happen. Happy with the Martinez signing in relation to the top 4 race, because at the moment I firmly believe that Spurs, Chelsea, the top 4 of last year are favourites anyway, because that is their right. They finished in the top 4 last year. But I also think, based on their summer, Conte's Spurs are in a stronger position than us as well. Eriksen will be a great leader at United. I think he could be important next season, says Raz. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Eriksen. But you make a good point anyway, because you know what? Eriksen is a leader in the sense that he's very experienced and he knows what he's doing. And Martinez is a leader in that Ajax side. So don't underestimate that. We're buying footballers because that's the way that Ten Hag will recruit players. He wants footballers, and Timber wouldn't have been a leader, and he wanted him. But with Martinez and Eriksen, he's bringing players into the system that he wants to play in that system. But the added advantage with both these players as well is that they are characters in the dressing room. You bring in Malacia, he's probably in awe of that dressing room. He probably is like, I want to be liked and everything like that. I think with Lisandro Martinez and Eriksen, they're not coming in and going, oh my God, it's Harry Maguire and Marcus Rashford or Bruno. They're going to be like, no, I think this is my platform and I'm here to express myself. And you don't always get that, and it is an added bonus because you want to buy players that suit your system. As I say, you wanted Timber. Timber wouldn't, I don't think, have walked in that dressing room and been as confident as Lisandro is. So I think that there is a real big advantage. And De Jong would be like that as well. You bring De Jong in, 25 years of age, Dutch international, played for Barcelona. He's not a player that's going to walk in and be in awe of McFred, is he? So this is important. And, the flip side of that coin is if you bring a Sangari in, he might be a little bit in awe of the club and the players in the dressing room, and therefore it might take him longer to settle. So it is an added advantage to have leaders as well as ballers. Good afternoon, Mark. Just wanted to know your top 2 alternatives to De Jong in case he doesn't end up coming. Anyone you feel could make a similar, better impact than De Jong? Absolutely no one, Sasha. Absolutely nobody. There is nobody out there that is available that will have an impact or the quality of a Frenkie de Jong, because Frenkie de Jong is one of the best midfielders in Europe. And we are ridiculously lucky to even be linked to him. And we're ridiculously lucky to be still very firm favourites to sign him. We were lucky last season to finish 6th. We should be in the Conference League. Some would say we should be in the bloody Championship because of how we played. We've got no right, other than luck, to be in the Europa League. We're an absolute joke of a side. And we've got absolutely no right to be linked with De Jong, let alone potentially signing him. So there is no player that we can. It's not like we can go and get Kimmich. Like we can't go and get anybody of De Jong's quality. So there's a massive drop off if you don't get De Jong. That's not to say De Jong's going to be a success, but his CV suggests that he's better than anything that's out there. If you don't get De Jong, I'd listen to what the chat says. Ruben Neves, Yuri Tillemans. These are probably the 2 options that United are looking at if they don't get De Jong, which for me is a very big difference. De Jong will play every game he's fit. I mean, look, I don't think anybody doesn't want De Jong. De Jong will play every game he is fit. For many reasons, his talent, but also he is the marquee signing. It's like De Jong, and this is the problem with United over the last 3 years, isn't it? De Jong would be Eric Ten Hag's Harry Maguire, the guy that he's going to fall on his sword for, and he's going to pick him, and this is my guy, right? So the great thing about De Jong is, if we sign him, it's Eric Ten Hag's star boy. He's going to play all the time. If you buy Neves and he doesn't settle, you could be back with McTominay and Fred within a few weeks, where he goes, Neves hasn't settled, I'm going back to McTominay and Fred. Whereas with De Jong, he's just going to stick with him. So look, it's got to be De Jong. I understand why people are frustrated, but I still believe we'll get that deal done, and I still really, really want it to happen just soon. Joseph, we are the only club in the world football that will bench Varane. It's crazy, says Joseph. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to be disrespectful to people like Matip and John Stones, but I'm pretty sure if Varane was injury-free at Man City and Liverpool, he'd play next to Van Dijk and Diaz. Like, I'm surprised it's even a debate. Varane is a top 5 centre-back in the world, and we've got him. Lisandro Martinez could become a top 5 centre-back in the world. De Gea, if we can get him coached properly, could become one of the best goalkeepers in the world again. De Jong could become one of the best midfielders in the world at Manchester United. Retain Ronaldo for a season, you've got one of the best strikers in the world. Eriksen and Bruno competing, we could have one of the best 10s in the league. So I'm just thinking about the spine here. That's what I'm thinking about. Every great team is built on a great spine, and what we've got to do is stop conceding sloppy goals. I saw a great bit of analysis yesterday, and I can't remember where it was from, but it was brilliant, and it basically said, it was so simplistic, it was brilliant. And in football, some of the, I don't actually like these people who try and overcomplicate football, because I've played it all my life, I've watched it, I've coached it, watch it with you guys and girls, and I think that football is brilliant in its simplicity. And somebody was saying that if United buy Lisandro Martinez and Varane stays injury-free, and David De Gea develops as a sweeper keeper, you've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world and 2 of the better centre-backs in Europe. That is a very strong spine. You won't concede many goals. You won't. We conceded a lot of goals last year because our defence was crap. You won't concede a lot of goals. If you don't concede a lot of goals, you'll either draw games or win games if you score goals. Now, you bring Eriksen in, you've got a player who is a set-piece specialist who creates a lot of things. So in a tight game against a decent team, maybe you're away at Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal or Spurs, it's a tight game. They're trying to score, they're the home team, but you're defending well. You get a free kick with 20 minutes to go. Eriksen's on it, whips it in, Varane heads it in, or whoever, 1-0 win. It might not be pretty, but that's what winning teams do. Nobody, well, to be fair, Liverpool and Man City probably do nowadays, but going back to the Sir Alex days, it's very hard to go and win dominatingly home and away for 38 games. We need to be strong at the back in some games, not concede, and then we need to get a goal. Maybe Bruno picks it up and Rashford's made a run and the right back's out of position. Little dink, Rashford's through 1-on-1, 1-0. We keep a clean sheet. That's not what Ollie did. Ollie counter-attacked. I'm not saying we're going to counter-attack. What I'm saying is we're going to defend well, and sometimes those clean sheets can lead to you winning. Like De Gea and Ronaldo last season, what 2 players do you think could be our 2 standouts under Ten Hag at the end of next season? Well, I don't think that's the aim, Scythe. I don't think that's the aim. I think the aim is to build a team. We've already seen that Sancho's going to be a very important player. I think Luke Shaw will be as well. I know I'm in the minority there. I think Bruno's going to improve. You've got Eriksen coming in. Rashford could have a big season. Maybe Martial. Hopefully Ronaldo stays. We've spoken about De Jong, Varane, Lisandro, De Gea. I don't want a season like last year where it's just Ronaldo and De Gea. We need to be. What we want to be is a situation where we're calling out 2 bad players and the rest of them have been good. Does anyone really think we could get Neves? He's expensive, club doesn't want to sell, and our board would never get it done. I don't. Andrew, I sort of do agree with you on that. We announced Sancho while he was pending a medical, says Jamesy, and great to have Martinez signed. Now we should go and grab Joaquim from Atalanta, since he's a world-class wing-back, says Miguel. And Maguire is not crap, he's overrated and turns like an ocean liner, says Johnny from Donny. There you go. So Manchester United have completed the signing of Lisandro Martinez, probably for too much money, but that's not his fault, that's the board's fault. God, this story about Sangari's just come out again. It's 24 hours old. It's from the same guy who said 24 hours ago. It's not true. We're not in for Sangari. unfortunately. I wish we were, but we're not. And I do genuinely think that, I've just tweeted it as well, Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez are our best centre-back pairing. Do I think that that will happen? No, I don't. I think Varane worries me for injury reasons, but you can't be in a situation where you bench Varane for Maguire. I just think Maguire will play more because of injury. On a positive note, it's nice to see us signing quality from Europe. Under Ollie, we were linked with every English player. Break up the clique, says Aram. Yeah. I hope our fullbacks don't have to tuck in so much with Varane, Martinez. That might be the bottleneck if they get a chance to push forward, says SK. And you know what? Going back to that, I know. It is actually important. There was cliques in the dressing room last year. There were cliques, and the rumours were that there was a British clique, and there was a Ronaldo clique, and there was another clique, and these cliques are little groups of people that favour each other, and that's why there was toxicity. It's not a bad idea to have an international dressing room, and what I mean by that is we've lost Pogba, Varane. No, we haven't lost Varane. Pogba, Cavani, and Mata and Matic have gone, and Lingard. So 1 English player and 4 international players. We've bought Lisandro Martinez, Christian Eriksen and Malacia, 3 international players. So it's good to have that balance in the team. It's good to have that balance in the team anyway. Like, I think about when United was successful, and we've always had that. So, yeah, look, positives. That's what it's all about. And I think Manchester United... Reggie says, I think we'll play a 3-5-3. I'd be absolutely stunned, Reggie, because 3-5-3 is 11 players, and you're not allowed to play 12. And you don't include the goalkeeper in the formation. So I'd be stunned if we play a 3-5-3, because I can't see us not playing with a goalkeeper. Tozin says, how many subs are allowed this coming season? It's 5. Yes, it is 5. It is 5. And why has everyone forgot that we desperately need to sell some players? I don't think we've forgotten. I just think it's very difficult to sell players because of how much money they cost. Inverted fullbacks aren't necessarily there to protect the centre-backs. It also creates superiority in midfield, says Jamie. Yeah, look, this is why the centre-backs are so important in a Ten Hag system. And I think people are starting to see it with their own eyes if they didn't watch Ajax and didn't know this was going to come. Centre-backs are so important in this system because they cover the flanks. Like, I said it when we got Ten Hag, they cover the flanks. Like, you've got to... And what that means is you've got to pull across. So, on this system here, let's use Varane. Varane's got to come over here because the fullback's going forward. That's Varane's area. It's a high line, and this is what you do. The high line allows you to attack, and the cover allows the fullback to go forward. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to be mobile, you've got to read the game, and you've got to be confident. I don't think Lindelof and Maguire suit that at the moment. Maybe they'll develop, but Lisandro Martinez does, and Rafael Varane does. And that is what we're talking about. Those fullbacks do invert to support the midfield. Those fullbacks do go forward, and therefore the 2 centre-backs, very much like the days of Rio and Vidic, go forward, will defend. And that's what your 2 centre-backs are there to do. And also, these centre-backs, as you saw in the pre-season games, they're up here as well. They're part of the press as well. You're almost CDMs as a centre-back in a Ten Hag system. You're not there to stand on your edge of the box and be protected like you were under Solskjaer. You've got to bloody work. It's a hard shift being a centre-back in a Ten Hag system because you're left back, you're left centre-back, you're supporting the midfield. 2 of the most important positions in a Ten Hag system are the centre-backs, and you must be mobile. Not always in pace, but in, look at someone like Daley Blind. His mobility is his ability to read the game. If you can read the game at football, you can be a yard off the pace because you'll be a yard ahead of the pace because you've anticipated it. Daley Blind was fantastic at that. So Lisandro Martinez and Varane, for me, are the better 2 centre-backs to have, but it will all come down to fitness, won't it, I suppose. Anyway, look, Lisandro Martinez is a Manchester United player. We will still await the medical and the quotes. I'm sure they'll come out later in the week, but Manchester United have announced it. And I think they've announced it today because they probably think it might be a little bit of time for a visa, maybe a little bit later in the week. I can understand why they've done it now when I think it, because if they can't announce it tomorrow, they may as well announce it today that they're pending the medical, which is what they've done. Anyway, let's see if we can get 5,000 likes for Lisandro. Smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe. Remember, we're back at 7 o'clock tonight, not 8 o'clock, because I'm 8 o'clock on Talk Sport with my live show, which you can watch on YouTube or listen into and call into. But I'll be live at 7 o'clock. We've got some updates around Ghana, Martial, and a few other bits to get into. But this has been about Lisandro Martinez, who is now a Manchester United player. And I would say takes the role as the most exciting signing of the summer so far, because he is going to go straight into the team, and that opens up all sorts of options for our centre-backs and who the centre-back pairing will be. For me, it's not even an agenda. Rafael Varane's one of the best centre-backs in the world, and Lisandro Martinez is a centre-back that Ten Hag's just spent £55 million on. That's the logical centre-back pairing. I don't think it will be that. Pretty sure our captain will be playing. How that's going to work, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit.